chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material in use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law.
Yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah. Dearest Mexicans for Trump, you won't ever be white. You bought the bullshit propaganda and they got you like sight. Fourth Amendment violating my constitutional rights. Racial profiling's illegal, but they targeting my people. El nopal en la frente. This is for mi gente, born and raised in Los Angeles. Soy la represente. A country that's founded by immigrants, but still they do us dirty. I guess the white power decided we weren't worthy. So when you say white supremacy doesn't exist, I can help but notice they control all the politics. Your lame distraction to cover up, we ain't buying. Release the files you promised us, you lying about that island. Shit is getting messy, Epstein's bestie. Cover up for pedophiles, that's nasty. México, Ecuador, Colombia, El Salvador. Todos los países saben quién es la matadora. Brown skin, brown eyes, brown in this liquor cabinet.
Brown owned businesses opening all across the planet.
Brown skin, brown eyes, brown in this liquor cabinet.
Brown owned businesses opening all across the planet. America's nightmare is brown skin, black hair, brown eyes, black Glock 9, cause they don't fight fair. Cocked and loaded, whoever might dare to step inside my lair is getting shot right there. Despite their narrative, I'm a Native American, arrogant motherfucker that never cared about no president. The only ones I care about been dead for a long time. Dollar signs, racists hate me cause I get mine. These fucking nerds are really groupies to the government. They all full of shit, fuck Democrats and Republicans. They doing evil but use the Bible to cover it. They be like, praise Jesus, then go terrorize the public.
Yeah, they don't wanna see me pop my collar like a perk. Matter of fact, I'ma pop it like they pop Charlie Kirk. Most of us came here to work, and they treat us like we dirt. No justice, no peace, I'm leaving faces on a shirt. I ain't left, I ain't right, fuck them all with no Vaseline. I'm outside the White House with a match and some gasoline. Light it up and vanish like that list of Mr. Epstein. If Trump was in a room with a minor, he'll play some Al Green. The real enemies are small elite of billionaires. They need to all get waxed off like some pussy hairs. Drag their body with a chariot down Times Square. They got money for war, but no health care. Fuck them, fuck them.
Brown skin, brown eyes, brown in this liquor cabinet.
Brown owned businesses opening all across the planet.
Brown skin, brown eyes, brown in this liquor cabinet.
Brown owned businesses opening all across the planet.
Brown skin, brown eyes, brown in this liquor cabinet.
Brown owned businesses opening all across the planet.
Brown skin, brown eyes, brown in this liquor cabinet.
Brown owned businesses opening all across the planet.
Damn, son, bringing back another banger. It's Loud and Beats. You heard?
Antes del nombre América, antes del hierro y la cruz, había pueblos que hablaban con la tierra y con la luz. No era un mundo vacío, era ciencia y corazón. La historia empezó aquí mismo, aunque el invasor no pida perdón. Sembramos tiempo en el cielo cuando el mundo no sabía contar. El cero nació en la selva, el maíz nos enseñó a pensar. Calendarios y medicina, ciudades frente al sol. No era mito ni leyenda, era pueblo, era voz. No fue descubrimiento, fue invasión. No fue silencio, fue opresión. Antes del mapa, antes de ti, había pueblos completos que no vas a entender. No éramos pasado, somos raíz, aunque nos llamen historia, seguimos aquí. Desde el barro del origen hasta el jaguar ancestral, desde la selva profunda hasta el águila solar, ciudades que eran mundos cuando Europa se partió, capitales que flotaban mientras el viejo mundo ardió. En la montaña aprendimos a vivir sin dominar, sin rueda y sin bestias, pero sabiendo gobernar. Caminos y comunidad, trabajo como misión. El poder no era conquista, era responsabilidad. No fue progreso, fue despojo. No fue fe, fue antojo. Antes del mapa, antes de ti, había pueblos completos que no vas a entender. No éramos pasado, somos raíz, aunque nos llamen historia, seguimos aquí. Hey. 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 Quemaron nombres, vendieron memoria, alzaron fronteras sobre nuestra historia. Nos dijeron atraso para robarnos la voz, civilización a balazos y la fe pa'l control. Pero la tierra recuerda, la raíz no se rinde, aunque cambien las banderas, la herida no se extingue. De norte a sur somos la misma raíz, la misma herida que se niega a morir. De norte a sur nadie sobra aquí, Latinoamérica sigue y no va a pedir permiso para existir.
El autor viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
right, I think we're good to go. Okay, family. Thanks for being here. Good night. See you tomorrow. Just kidding. What up? What up, bro? Good to have you here. VTC. What up? What up? Yeah, man. Some people don't get it. Kingdom of God dwelleth in you. Some people don't get it. You know, so, anyways. All right. This was the class that I was talking about. Hubris, annihilation. All the same caucasoids. Get it? Anyways, man, there's only a few people, bro. Shit. I guess y'all don't like me. Fuck it. It is what it is. I'm going to show you guys a video. Let's start with that. And then I'm going to kind of give you... I don't know how to put it, man. This is interesting. Brother, thank you for sending me this, by the way. And you're going to be surprised by like what you see. Hold on. Let me see if I can get the... let me see if I can get the video. The video. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's get going. Fuck it. It is what it is, bro. I guess people don't want to see this the show like Chicloso says. Thank you, Chicloso, man. I hope you're doing well. Not.
So you did not inject PP14 developed by my people, the Israelis at MIT with HIV in it, right? No. Because that's exactly what it is. This is a genocide by the Israelis. They're getting rid of all you Americans. You're all part of the land of Edom. They consider Donald Trump their Mashiach. I don't know if you know this. Do you know that they gave Donald Trump the silver crown of the Torah recently, which is to be put on the head of the Messiah? Do you know this? Who was that? 163 Orthodox rabbis. Oh, wow. Came together at Trump's golf course and handed him the silver crown. Do you know any of that? Nope. They gave him a menorah about 2 weeks ago, and on the bottom, the inscription says the Prince of Peace, an utterance out of the prophet Isaiah for the Mashiach, the Messiah. Do you know that happened? So you guys have no idea that they, in Israel, the Knesset, and in the Sanhedrin, have proclaimed Donald Trump the Messiah. Nope. You know none of this. They gave Trump the silver crown of the Torah. Got that? That's the silver crown of Jerusalem. This is to be given to the Messiah and the Messiah only. And 163 Orthodox Jewish rabbis gave Donald Trump the silver crown of the Torah. I worked 4 years on Trump's campaign team. These guys are... This is the inscription, which you can't read, but you can read it here. They're calling him the Prince of Peace. This is an utterance out of the prophet Isaiah. Donald Trump is considered the Mashiach of Israel, the Messiah, according to these rabbis who run your country. The whole COVID agenda was done by Zionist Jews, and they want all you people dead here in the land of Edom. They consider Donald Trump the head of Edom. They're going to kill you people off with this injection. You're considered Amalek. And they want all you people dead. My Instagram is Trump_played_you. Trump played you. My son's dying from this shot that Donald Trump brought out through a military operation, Warp Speed, March 27, 2020, approved by the DOD. Warn your fellow Americans. This whole thing by this COVID agenda is all dual citizenship Zionist Jews. I used to be a hardcore Zionist. They want all you people dead, and Trump is their Messiah. Make no mistake of it. He will return. Can I see the back of your shirt? All right. Go Trump. Go Trump. Yeah, Trump's going to kill all you people.
I don't know if somebody sent me that video, sent me the link. I'd recorded it because TikTok takes shit off. Matter of fact, they took off Scott Ritter, who I was going to show you today. When you see the video, it says not able to view in your region and other regions. It's interesting. I don't know if somebody sent me this or if I happened to just kind of keep scrolling after I was looking at it, and then I ran into this video. So, again, you know, we are in a very interesting moments in our lives right now. Very, very interesting moments. I want to share this with you before we start like reading. This brother, thank you, bro, for sending this. I find it interesting. So here we see, hold on, the video is called Thugger Life. Benzene Time, Arab Frontier, Thug Life. Mean Speed Paint. So, you know, it's interesting where they get these fucking names, bro. It's interesting where they get these names. Thuggery, Thug Life. Thuggery Life is a Benzene Time, Arab, you know, terminology. Isn't it weird how things that make it go, What up, sis? Yeah, good to have you. We're gonna hopefully have a good time today with some reading. I may have to do a two-step class because there's a lot of books here, man. I don't know if I can tackle that all in one sitting. Maybe, I don't know. Depends. So let's watch the video. All right, Speed War. Check this out. See, it's like you know, they're looking at they're obviously, you see the picture. Let's speed it up a little bit, and you see how it's, you know, like they're drawing characters in. All right, listen, let's go. So let me speed it up a little bit more. We'll go here before they go coloring. Ready? Let's go. So why am I showing that? You're like, dude, this is stupid, bro. Yeah, maybe it is. Who cares? Bye. I thought this was interesting. Check this out, man. Check this out, bro. So he took a picture of like the page. This is where it gets interesting. Thugger Life, Benzene Time, Arab Frontier. Because we're gonna touch on that, hopefully. Weird meme drawing I made that requires a bit. The weird meme drawing I made that requires a bit of context. So first, what is thugger? Al-Thugger or thugger, Al-Awazim, was the Arabic term for frontier zone between Roman Empire and the Islamic world from 7th through 10th century. It's interesting because we're going to read about this century, like a lot. Basically, Cilicia, the northern Syria, upper Mesopotamia, Armenia, that region, right? We're going to be targeting more of Armenia and north. Ever since the first wave of Arab conquest stopped, and it seemed like the caliphate could not fully conquer the empire, the caliphs and the emperors created a no-man's land, a frontier for their state. This frontier zone was depopulated, many fortresses were built, and there was constant warfare between the Romans and Arabs. Those who lived in the Thugger or Thugur were hardy folk, the border lords and bandits that roamed a chaotic land. They were Romans, Arabs, Armenians. The Thugger or Thugur was a very diverse place where many cultures met. On the Romans, roamed a chaotic land. There were Romans, Arabs, Armenians, the Thugger, diverse, blah, blah, blah. Okay, on the Roman side, there were the Arcritia and Appellatai, border guards and guerrillas.
guerrillas, I guess, who defended the empire and counter-raidings the Arab raiders. See my video, blah, 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 blah. Then it says, on the Arab side, there were a jihad volunteer, but also the occasional bandits with no alliance to anyone. The Thugur gradually was de-established when the Roman conquered their former lands. In the 10th century, this is 10th century AD, the forts were dismantled, the cities were re-urbanized, the law and order was restored, a troubled region, and the border folk became irrelevant. My drawing here is a tribute to these border folks. They were lawless, ruthless, sure, but damn, they were iconic. You may know of the acritic cycle already, but the Romans were not the only people to sing and write about legendary figures from the Thugur. Armenians and Arabs also had epics about their border hero like David, Sassoon, and Del Hemma. I was just so fascinated by the region, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, and I thought it was like, what do we see? Like, for example, where they get the name Wakanda? From here, right? I don't know, bro. I mean, how can we put this? We see people assimilating and then becoming those people, taking over the names and shit. All of a sudden, like, oh, who created that? That's where they get these things from, fam. And they hypnotize you with like, oh my God, they're so creative. Nah, this is fucking repetitive history. That's what it is. Thug Life was an American hip-hop band, but gradually the word got the meaning of a determined and resilient attitude to success in life in spite of racism and injustice. I think this can also be applied to the border folk of the Thugur, or Thugger, who lived hard lives but left behind incredible legacies and were immortalized in epic poems. Thug Life is also kind of the meme. You get the thing, though? Nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. Now, I'm going to read this to you just so I can give you, I guess you could say, some context regarding, you know, our quote-unquote salvation. And I say it in those terms because a lot of us don't even understand what that means. We can pick and choose. You know what I mean? You can't pick and choose. One thing about the scriptures is they're very parabolic. You can read something and it doesn't necessarily mean what you're reading. It could mean something totally, you know, opposite, right? So this is one example. Proverbs 24:30 talks about this particular thing. It says, I went by the field of the slothful and by the vineyard of a man void of understanding. You see what he's saying? I went by the field of the slothful and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. Lazy and just, he ain't right in the head, I guess. It says, and lo, it was all grown over with thorns and nettles that had covered the face thereof, and the stone wall thereof was broken down. Then he says, then I saw and considered it well. I looked upon it and received instructions. So, you know, for example, you guys that are watching, listening, or been listening for quite some time, like, you're not slothful anymore. You know, you're not like void of understanding. Like, you've been getting it. You've been learning. You've been catching. You've been connecting the dots or putting the puzzle together. It's been happening. Unlike other people, they still don't. Grown thorns and nettles all over them. They're not reflecting. They're not repenting. You know, they're just living a life, whatever. But when the shit comes down, when the fire starts burning, bro, it's that last thought of, oh shit, I'm about to die. That's happened to me once. Okay, so I'm very familiar with this shit. Like, oh my God, I'm about to die. And I thought about everything in my life. I was only about 18 years old at this time. You know, I was about to lose my life. It's crazy when you have that, like, gun to you like that, because that's what technically occurred. I was that close. So your life just crosses your, like, oh shit, I didn't do nothing. But not in this case here. Y'all are not void of understanding. You considered it well, looked upon it. You grow, let's say, for example, you've been growing with me, and you're looking at other people, and you're like, how come they don't see it? What is it that they're missing? They're still the same. They're not growing. They still believe in politics like it's going to save their fucking ass, and it's not, right? That's somebody that's thorns and nettles. They're still angry. They're still bitter. They're still, you know how it is. Destructive. Their family don't care for them and shit. They don't care about their kids. It's just like stuff like that. So now, once you understand the thorns and nettles are basically all your corruption, okay? This is why Hosea 10 and 8 also helps us identify. Hosea 10 and 8 says, the high places of Avon, the sin of Israel, shall be destroyed. The thorns and thistles shall come up on their altars, because they'll be void of understanding. All of the stuff that we believe, like you guys that believe, like, white Jesus, black Jesus, Virgin Mary, all of this shit, like all of this, you are full of thorns and thistles, or thorns and nettles. And the scriptures say that if you're trying to repent and you cannot walk back the road that you came by because it's full of thorns and nettles, you're gonna burn like everything else. Thorns and thistles, shall come up on their altars, and they shall say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall on us. Why? Because you're about to get punished. Because, you're seeing what's going on. Don't think that you're not in. We are basically there now already. WW3 is right there. It's not like, oh, no, full on. They're already going to deploy young men and women to go and start shooting each other. Man, this is fucking nuts, bro. So now, as you see this building, these walls, these like awkward things growing on it, you're void of understanding. You're not taking care of your shit. You're walking crookedly. Watch this. This is very heavy right here, fam. And it says Amos 7:7, right? Thus he showed me. Hold on. So let me give you some context. Warning vision, okay? Amos 7:1. Thus had the Lord God showed unto me, and behold, he formed grasshoppers in the beginning of the shooting up of the latter growth. And lo, it was the latter growth after the king's mowing. Okay? So he's talking about a warning vision. Verse 7. Watch this and pay attention. We're talking about if you're still in your crooked ways, if you're still confused in these beliefs, he's gonna line you up really well. If you're not lined up with what he's requiring of you, because it's not complicated. I don't got to tell you. Y'all already know internally. You know when you're not well, when you're not doing well, when you're off. You know you. Ain't no one else can tell who you are. You know you. That's why when I said earlier, the kingdom of God dwelleth in you. I've been sharing that shit for a while to you guys, right? I was telling the brother because he posted a thumbnail on that. The kingdom of God dwelleth in you. You ain't going to find it in a building, or you're not going to find it at IUIC, ISUPK, or GMS, or Sakari, or whatever the fuck they are. Butt plugs. I don't even know anymore. Not some old man that just because he got woolly hair all of a sudden now you think he's John the Baptist. What the fuck? None of that shit. Thus he showed me, and behold, the Lord stood upon a wall made by a plumb line, with a plumb line in his hand. I don't know if you guys know what a plumb line is, but it's just imagine a weight on the bottom of a long string, and you hold it up. You just hold it up. Once that, the weight and the strings stop moving and it just stays still, that's a straight line up and down, straight line, up and down. So what he's saying is, thus he showed me, behold, the Lord stood upon a wall made by a plumb line, with a plumb line in his hand. And the Lord said unto me, Amos, what seest thou? And I said, a plumb line. And he said, then said the Lord, behold, I will set a plumb line in the midst of my people, and I will not again pass them by anymore. Meaning, this is it. If you ain't getting it straight now, if you're not lined up, if you're crooked, if you're full of thistles and thorns and nettles or thistles, if you haven't examined, if you haven't changed your ways, if you have not improved, they don't have to be financially, oh, you guys are stupid. Oh, we need to be, nah, bro. If that's your drive, you're going to hell. Because you don't even understand the balance of what life is asking from you. We all got to produce. We all got to do what we got to do. But if you're driven by quote unquote success, then your plumb line, the plumb line is going to prove how crooked you fucking are. It's going to separate the sheep from the wolves, right? The wheat from the tares. you understand that? From the good seed to the bad seed. Bro, if you are just wicked, we're not saying, well, I mean, obviously you want to work towards making sure you're cleansing, but ain't nobody perfect, bro. We can all strive to it, but it's hard, it's difficult. The point is, it's a contrite heart, a broken spirit. Are you trying to recover from that broken spirit? That plumb line is going to determine if you really are aligned with the Most High or not. Because you know what? I'm telling you right now, this is not a joke. This is not like, oh, you know, we're not in world. Bro, we are there. They're trying to say that we're not there. I'm telling you, family, they're not reporting to you the truth. They're not. Don't wait till the last bomb and all of a sudden, oh my God, I remember so-and-so telling me about this shit and I just didn't. All of a sudden, let's say you know, stuff happens and I don't know. I can't even imagine being in the wrong place at the wrong fucking time. Isaiah 14:21, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Prepare slaughter. Prepare slaughter. This is for all the enemies and all of you that assisted, that are part of the game. Oh, Republican, Democrat, Jesus, white, black, Virgin Mary, evil one, who don't fucking matter. All of that shit. It don't matter. You're not, if you ain't within that plumb line, you're toast. Isaiah 13:11, and I will punish the world for their evil. Remember thorns and thistles? Remember the void of understanding? Your building's all fucking crooked. Your vineyard's not taken care of. Like, you're not trimming your ways. You're not trimming your ways of wickedness. We all make mistakes, but if you fall back to that mistake, then you're toast. And the wicked for their iniquity. Remember that plumb line. He's going to find out if you're crooked or not. I'm telling you, like it talks about that. A crooked tree brings forth what? A wicked tree brings forth wicked fruit. A crooked tree can never be straight again. And I will cause, let me go back. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. He's going to use that plumb line. Arrogant, proud, you're not willing to reflect, not willing to repent, not willing to admit that you're wrong, not taking care of your children, thinking that, look, listen, a lot of you guys are failing with your children. I'm just telling you right now from conversations I have with people, because it's not just several, not just a few, a lot of you guys are failing your kids and you don't even know it, bro. I just listen. Unless you're asked for advice, I don't give it to you if you don't ask for it. Y'all are grown people. And I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. You see that plumb line? If you ain't there, bro, I'm telling you right now, all you guys that are like Christmas Christians and shit, like, well, you know, like, I understand you got to go visit your family. I get it. But if you're like looking forward to it, you got trees and all that shit, bro.
It's not the Jews.
You are confused. Since 1492, these groups didn't stop. Since 1492, these groups did not stop. Mainstream media is downplaying everything. Yeah, they are. They really are, man. They're not telling you any truth, fam. I mean, look, let's put it this way. I had scheduled a link from Scott Ritter. I should have recorded it. I don't know why I did not. I knew it. I'm like, bro, record it. They're going to take it off. And he basically was saying, prove me wrong that this isn't happening. Prove me wrong that this isn't happening. Prove me wrong that, bro, I'm telling you. Let me see. Let me just give you guys the example. Right here, look. Check this out. This is the Scott Ritter. I'll even show you because I had it here. Dated from when? March 5th, right? From yesterday. Scott Ritter. So what did they do? They banned that shit. This video isn't available in your country or region. They are lying to you. You are officially going to experience WW3. We're in it, family. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you the lineage of these people. Prove to you they're converts, 100%. So it's like, what are they trying to create? They're trying to destroy humanity. I'm serious. They're wicked like that. It's crazy, man. Let's go.
It's not the Jews, it's not the Muslims who are attacking me. It's Christian Zionists. Those are the ones who are attacking me. They're mad that I converted to Catholicism, and they're mad that I dared to speak out against Israel because that's their religion. You can't speak out against Israel because what they said on that stage is that if you're not a Zionist, you're an anti-Semite. You're a hateful bigot. That was the statement that they made. And I will tell you, I reject that. That is hatred towards Catholicism. And I, as a Catholic, am deeply offended, and so many Catholics are. We are the furthest thing filled with hate. We are the furthest thing from being bigots. All we want is to stand up for our religious freedom and reject Zionist supremacy, because we as Catholics, we don't believe that Israel today has anything to do with Israel of the Bible, okay? Christianity has been hijacked by evangelical Christian Zionists, and it's time we take Christianity back.
You know what, family? This is the funny part. This is the funny part, okay? We've been saying this since 2022. When I say we, it's because that's when I started the channel. You guys were all part of this walk. If you've been following since then, all praises to you, all be revealed. You're one of them that followed me since 2022, bro. I don't know if anybody else did. Anybody else, I think maybe 2023 and on. But you were one of the first ones. So we've been actually experiencing all this. And I've been bringing this whole thing out since 1492. This has been occurring. That's why I was showing you guys how the first Christians that showed up and why they were massively killing our people, hanging us by 13 and all this shit. They were conversos. In reality, self-proclaimed Jews that didn't want to lose their position. So they became Christian, or they ended up coming here, killing in the Christian name, but in the same breath, making fun of Christianity because they didn't truly believe it. They were not truly converted. They were still practicing their Talmudic fucking thing, claiming to be Christians. That's why these guys are the same thing. They're claiming to be. Claiming to be. Claiming is one thing. You know, claiming is one thing. Give me a second here. Read this before starting the video. Oh. Check this out. I found this so funny, and it's kind of had to do with the title as well. Because I had the title in mind, but it really helped. It says here, Netanyahu's Armageddon, blinded by rage and revenge, and driven by hubris and greed. Pride. Operation Bomb, 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 Bomb. Iran, whenever war criminal Prime Minister Benjamin Melkovsky makes a trip stateside to meet with the president at either the White House or the Mar-a-Lago, very bad things happen to any nation that finds itself in the Zio-Anglo-American crosshairs. Zio-Anglo-American crosshairs. Do you understand what that means, family? Do you understand what we're saying now? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? Hey, what up, bro? Good to have you, man. Let me see. I didn't say what's up to Timo DeVille. What up, bro? Bienvenido, man. Bam Bam, what up, brother? Yeah, say no to the draft. You know, I feel bad for some of the brothers that are going to be forced to actually, going. Wax a Million, good to have you here, brother. I think you're new here. Welcome. Private Anatomy, I think you've been here before. Were you the one that emailed me a song? Was that you? I don't know if it was you, but I did kind of listen to it a little bit. I got to go back and listen to it again. I would suggest, try to put a positive message. I haven't heard the song completely, right, if it's you. But make sure that you put a positive message so I can share it. And make it a good one, man, because, a lot of people, trust and believe, man, I've made a lot of, so songs that I play, I made a lot of them really, really fucking famous. I brought their name over here. And all of a sudden, people started, downloading this shit fast. I think Puro Nega was one of them. Rasta Chai. Nobody had heard of those guys back in 2022, bro. Not here and everywhere else, yeah. But as soon as I brought them here, bam, they started kicking off. So, if that's you, perfect. Let's see what I left off. Okay, cool. So let's go. It says Zio-Anglo-American crosshairs, but this time the stakes have never been higher, and the blowback on the U.S. has never been so unpredictable and catastrophic. You see? Listen to this real quick.
It's well documented that we have, for quite a long time now, known where the real problem is in the Middle East. And in fact, the president adequately described it as the axis of evil. I guess my question is, how many times do we have to prove that these people are blowing up people now? Never mind if they get a nuclear weapon. When do we send them an airmail message to Tehran? That old Beach Boys song, Bomberan. Anyway,
You see how Esau just laughs at the possibility of blowing up babies and shit? Really? Now you're talking Christmas Christians. You're so Christian. You're the same, bro. A white side chose Christianity. Another white side chose Judaism. That's really it. Now, remember, keep in mind, I showed you guys this professor yesterday. This is from another video here. We're going to read. Don't even get me wrong. We're going to read. I'm just trying to set this up. And he makes a lot.
All right, guys,
He makes a lot of good points. Right here. All right. So I'm gonna skip stuff so we can get to certain points. All right. Listen to this.
I'm making 3 big predictions, right? First is that Trump will win in November. Second is that the United States will go to war against Iran. And the third big prediction is that the United States will lose this war, which will forever change the global order.
So obviously that last one is the only one who is.
And that's why, I listened to what he was saying, because he's been on point, bro. You cannot take credit for something that other people do, and you can't not give other people props for what they do. You get what I mean? It's just important, man. Plus, he's a professor, bro. Trust me. If you appreciate knowledge, you'll have respect for knowledge. Let's go.
That has not yet come to fruition is quite a stunning prediction. Do you stand by it? And what have you seen so far that leads you to sort of stand firm in that conclusion?
So given my analysis of how the war is progressing, I think that Iran has many more advantages over the United States. The reality is that right now, it's a war of attrition between the United States and Iran. And the Iranians have been preparing 20 years for this conflict. In their eschatology, in their religion, this is a war against the great Satan. They've had many practice runs. Last June was a 12-day war when the Iranians were able to examine and analyze the strike capacities of both the Israelis and the Americans. And they've had a lot of time, 8 months, to prepare fully for this new attack. They, through their proxies, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Shia militias, have been able to.
Well, I don't know if he has. Maybe. I felt very strongly that he was going to win, and I said it in June 2024. Now, mine was driven by examples, and one of the most important things was the magazine that I showed you guys. It had Shane Bound looking one way and Trump looking the other. They had not yet won. And I was like, you know what? It's already predicted. This is what they want. So these two are going to win. I knew Shane Brown was going to win. I knew that Trump at that moment was going to win. I'm like, I didn't want him to win, but it's like, which evil do you want? They're both pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do remember bringing out some information like in 2023. Fuck, I can't remember that video. Anyways, I don't remember. Let's move on. But no, that's
really grasp the American mentality. And now they have a pretty good strategy of how to weaken and ultimately destroy the American empire. So what the Iranians are doing is they're waging war against the entire global economy. And so they are striking the GCC countries. And not only are they striking GCC countries, American bases, but they're going after the critical energy infrastructure of these bases. They blocked off the Strait of Hormuz. And eventually, they will go after the water desalination plants. which is the lifeblood of these nations because they don't have fresh water supply. In fact, the water desalination plants provides 60% of the GCC's water supply. So if a drone, and these drones cost $50,000, if they wiped out a desalination plant in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it's a city of 10 million people, right? They'd be out of water in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. And right now, the Iranians have de facto closed off the Strait of Hormuz, and the GCC gets 90% of its food from the Strait of Hormuz. So I know a lot of people are talking about the disruptions to the global economy, but right now, the Iranians are actually threatening the very existence of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar.
Scriptures talk about this. I shared it yesterday. I'll go over it again. Genesis 16:11. As a matter of fact, 16:1 is talking about Hagar, right? The Egyptian, was handmaid to Sarai, Abraham's wife. Okay. Now that's verse 1. But in verse 9, it says this, 9 through 12. It says, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, return to thy mistress and submit thyself under her hand. If you read the chapter, you'll understand what it's talking about. It's not that long. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and thou shalt bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael. Like all the Middle Easterns know that most of them, right? They connect with Ishmael. Because the Lord had heard thy affliction, and he will be a wild man. Aren't these people blowing themselves up like they do jihad shit? His hand will be against every man. See? Aren't they not attacking everybody else? Saudi, Qatar, like everybody else? And he will be a wild man, and his hand will be against every man, including who? Edom and Amalek, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of his brethren. So as you can see, most of them, like predominantly over there, right? Now, here's what it says in 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 27. We'll start there so you can get an idea of what's going to happen. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and you shall remain in them. For God shall not deliver you, because you have sinned against him. Remember that plumb line that he's going to judge you by. Crooked tree does never get straight. Behold, a horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, they're usually in the sky, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth. You see all those ballistic missiles? All those ballistic missiles, bro, they're bombing Israel. And they're not telling you guys that that's happening. They destroyed their Golden Dome. Their dome don't do shit now. It's completely open. But they don't want to tell you that because they want you to believe that they're supposedly winning. That's the whole sale that white folks been telling, the elite white folks have been telling all of you collateral damage white people. We're the greatest. We're the top notch. We civilized everybody. No, fuck no. Y'all didn't do shit. You guys stole and lied. That's it. And now you're being told that, no, you're winning. No, you're not. You're sending your kids to slaughter. That's why I read Isaiah 14. Slaughter, slaughter, slaughter. It's coming. You think it's a joke? This is WW3. I don't know why you guys think this. Look, Iran even said it themselves. They're not going to give up. They're not going to let up. And this is why this is scary what he's saying, because look, man, it's crazy how some people just kind of see it. And you know why? Because it's history. It repeats itself often. Let's go.
And why this is important is that the Gulf states are really the linchpin of the American economy. So what they do is they sell petrodollars, and then they recycle the petrodollars back into the American economy through the investments in the stock market. And right now, we know that the entire American economy is propped up by AI investments in data centers. And a lot of that comes from the Gulf states. So if the Gulf states are no longer able to sell oil, and they're no longer able to finance AI, this AI bubble in the United States, then this AI bubble will burst, and with it will burst as well as the entire American economy, which is really a financial Ponzi scheme.
Right.
So that's a dire situation that the Americans are facing right now.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, sir, an Amazon data center was literally hit in the UAE. And now, of course, big tech companies, which were looking...
There were 2 of them already.
...at the UAE as a major potential data center investment just from yesterday in Israel, which shows a single Iranian ballistic missile, which is being targeted by some 11 different interceptors, all of which miss. Most of those come from the United States, not to mention all of the different bases, the GCC countries that you just talked about, and the asymmetry of the cost. It's $1 million for a missile, tens of millions per interceptor in some of these cases. With these munitions running out, how does that change the global picture? So you're in China, obviously, much of the stocks in Asia.
Military is not designed to fight a 21st century war. Remember that the military-industrial complex came to being after World War II. It was designed to fight the Cold War. And the Cold War was really about muscle flexing, about who was able to send people up into space, who was the first to get the person on the moon, who had the more complex missile systems. And so the entire American military strategy revolves around very sophisticated technology that costs a lot of money to build. And that's what the American air defense system is basically. And that's why we're seeing this asymmetry, as you point out, in this war, where you have these $1 million missiles trying to take out these $50,000 drones. And it's not sustainable in the long term. And so what we're seeing is really the puncturing of the aura of invincibility and inevitability that sustained American hegemony for the past 20 years, especially after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And this is really a reordering of not just the global economy, because this signals the collapse of the petrodollar, and with it, the entire US dollar-based reserve currency.
By the way, the barrel is $90 right now. Look it up.
System, but also the global hegemony of the United States. We're moving towards a multipolar world.
Professor, this morning, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was asked a question about potential ground troops in Iran. He refused to rule out that possibility. And he said, oh, well, we're not going to project to you what we will or will not do, but we don't want to, rule anything out. We will do what
it is if it were to send ground troops into Iran. At the same time, the United States are committed to regime change in Iran. We've never had a precedent in history where you were able to regime change from the air alone.
Need boots on the ground. They need boots on the ground. I'm going to fast forward it. Yeah, his name is Professor Yang Media in his YouTube channel. He's a professor. He actually uploads his classes. And he teaches, I'm assuming he teaches over there somewhere in Asia, because I've heard a couple of his students ask him questions and they sounded like Asian. I don't know what is he, if he's Chinese or Japanese or Korean, but it sounds like he's, teaching over there. All right, so let me skip it ahead. Push from Saudi help, not that. I'm going to start here, okay? I'm going to start right here. This gets interesting at this moment.
NEOM, and all these things are not working out. So they need to be able to control the oil resources of the entire Middle East if they are to survive and thrive as a nation. So I do believe that this reporting is credible, even though it does make Saudi Arabia look bad. But remember, Saudi Arabia says that they wanted peace, but they are helping the Israelis and the Americans attack Iran right now because they're allowing the Israelis and Americans to use Saudi airspace.
That's why Iran has been attacking them. Like, bro, really? You're Islam, you're Muslim, and we're apparently brethren and Ishmael, whatever, and you let them do that shit? That's why Iran attacked them as well.
Help us understand, because it still feels to me like there's some pieces that don't totally add up. You had in advance of this point, and yet Trump still decided to go ahead. What is the calculus that he was making here that led him to take what already appears to be catastrophic actions?
Right, okay. So this is the key question. Why do they do this? I think there are 3 possibilities, okay? And I think all 3 possibilities are valid. The first is that of hubris. You look at history, this is how empires behave. Key question, why do they do this? I think there are 3 possibilities, okay? And I think all 3 possibilities are valid. The first is that of hubris. You look
Hubris. That's why it was kind of going with the title. I had already looked at that word. I promise you I'm not lying. I didn't know how I was going to put together the word. But then brother sent me a video. He mentioned something like that. I saw him later on mention this right here, I think. I'm confusing which ones. And then it just said, you know what? That's the title. Because the title before was this one, Order by Chaos. But I was like, this made more sense. Thank you, Yasharala. Thank you for sending me that video, because that kind of triggered this whole like title. You know what I mean? You helped me with the thumbnail, because this was the thumbnail for this class. And I'm glad I didn't go live on that. Let's go.
Look at history. This is how empires behave. So the Mindoro kidnapping was quick, successful, and it was adrenaline rush for Trump. And that made him overconfident in the capacity of the American military. Okay, so hubris is a factor, and we see this throughout history. Why did Hitler invade Stalin? Because he conquered Europe really easily, and he thought he was invincible, right? And that led to the destruction of the German army in the Soviet Union. So hubris is a factor. Then you have to look at internal political calculus, where even though America does not benefit from this war against Iran, Trump himself personally benefits. Why? Because the Saudis and the Israelis are bribing him to attack Iran. Remember that the Saudis invested $2 billion in the private equity fund of Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Donald Trump. And the Israelis, through Miriam Adelson, have been financing Trump's political career.
Attention to this, okay? Remember, keep in mind what I've been sharing with y'all. Remember this video that I told you about? This one. Like I was saying how they looked at us like they looked at them. Remember this? They're coming back soon. Okay? Hold on, honey. This is my little baby girl. She's 5 already, man. Fuck. It's crazy. Here goes this one.
Que es un criminal sionista, lo digo abiertamente, él apoyó a Trump y es íntimo de Netanyahu. Entonces, cuando llegó Netanyahu a Dallas, Texas, que había un grupo de judíos o israelíes, no sé cómo se diga ya eso, le decían, oye, ¿por qué persigues tanto a los palestinos? Y les dice, los palestinos son para nosotros los israelíes lo que los mexicanos son para ustedes en Estados Unidos. Entonces, yo veo la palestinización de los mexicanos en Estados Unidos.
Con todos los componentes.
¿Cómo?
Con todos los componentes, porque primero Estados Unidos le roba el territorio a México, después le termina de construir un muro, después los ataques xenófobos y racistas por un componente étnico y religioso también. ¿Qué falta?
Bueno, falta el último capítulo. Vamos a empezar a ver, hay que tenerlo en el escenario, una gran discriminación sobre los mexicanos. Eso a mí me queda muy claro. Y Estados Unidos, porque aquí la pureza blanca del WASP, del racismo, supremacismo, es igual que la pureza inventada de los nuevos judíos del siglo XXI, que ni son semitas. Lo digo con responsabilidad. Hoy uno llega a Tel Aviv y el 25% habla ruso. Son de origen házaro. Los házaros, lo digo también con definiciones puntuales, son mongoles centroasiáticos. No son semitas. En Estados Unidos, que es un criminal.
So I'm going to tell you this, family. If let's say, everything that I'm saying or whatever the scriptures say is not true, and they end up knocking down Iran and take control over all the Middle East, that's going to happen here. Do you understand how important that is? Because they're like already arguing with Ecuador. They're talking about Cuba, Mexico's narco shit. You know what I mean? Crazy, man.
Right, so
here's where he says, this is where it gets interesting. He talks about Illuminati. Let's go.
Miriam Adelson, a few months back, said that she will put up $250 million if Trump were to run a third term. So Trump is getting a lot of financial and political support from the Saudis and Israelis. Also remember that if this war goes sideways and Trump is forced to use ground troops, he will probably get approval from Congress, and this will give him emergency war powers, which will allow him to influence the midterms. So Trump is thinking about a third term. And I think at the ballot box, he probably won't get it. But if there's a war going on and you can delay elections and you have emergency.
And that's what I had said, like the way that it's moving, Epstein, all this shit, there ain't going to be no midterms, family. I'm telling you, they're going to go to war and going to make that a reasoning that they can't vote because there's war right now. Your midterms are done. Right? You're not going to get him out of here for the next 2 years. He's going to probably go to war for another 2 years. So then he doesn't have to face the fucking music. Remember, they gave him 34 counts, bro. He should be in fucking jail right now. But, you know, the elitist, he's doing their work. He's a puppeteer. We all knew it.
War powers and people rally around the flag, then he probably will get a third term. And the last factor that is very important is the eschatological factor, where if you look at the Epstein files, it's clear that we are run by secret societies. It's clear that the world is run by these individuals who have a lot of power. We don't know who they are, but they control the military. They control the national security apparatus. And these people, there are different names for these people. You can call them the Illuminati. And the Illuminati are composed of three major groups, okay? You have the Jesuits, who control the Vatican. You have the Septine Frankists, which control the modern state of Israel today. And you have the Freemasons, which control the national security apparatus.
What the fuck did I tell you? I told you! Damn, dog. I've been sharing that shit. And keep in mind, who is their muscle? Canaan. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's why they're infiltrating, you know, people like, oh, they're natives now. You got culomiados and shit saying all that shit. He's a Kaiser as well. You see what I mean? Bro, I'm telling you, family, this is powerful.
People control the military. They control the national security apparatus. Eschatological factor will get a third term. And the last factor, powers, and people rally around the flag, then he probably will get a third term. And the last factor that is very important is the eschatological factor, where if you look at the Epstein files, it's clear that we are run by secret societies. It's clear that the world is run by these individuals who have a lot of power. We don't know who they are, but they control the military. They control the national security apparatus. And these people, there are different names for these people. You can call them the Illuminati. And the Illuminati are composed of three major groups, okay? You have the Jesuits, who control the Vatican. You have the Septine Frankists, which control the modern state of Israel today. And you have the Freemasons, which control the national security apparatus of the United States. And they believe that Israel, this war in the Middle East, is key to the end times in creating heaven on earth. So it's almost like a script that they're following, even though it doesn't make any geopolitical sense. Okay, so I would say that these three are the best reasons why this is happening.
Wow. Well, sir, I hope you come back. This was very...
You see that shit? You see that shit? Joe, what up? What up, Joe? I thought we were ran by reptilians, bro. Nah. I don't think so. I mean, maybe. Who knows? You know? They do eat humans and shit. All right, so now he mentions Illuminati. Check this out. I thought it was interesting. Thank you, VTC, for this.
Triangle, the triangle of pyramids. But the Illuminati aren't just represented by pyramids, they're also represented by an eye. And what do eyes do? They see. Just like the Mediterranean Sea, or Syria, or like we mentioned earlier, the Red Sea. That's our second triangle, the triangle of eyes. And when you put the triangle of pyramids and the triangle of eyes together, what do you get? The two-triangle star. And what country lies in the middle of the star? Israel. And guess what Israel's national flag looks like? Exactly, the two-triangle star. And so in conclusion, after all my minutes of research into finally putting an end to all the ridiculous conspiracy theories and answer the question that's been asked so many times, is the Illuminati real? I present to you the answer. The Illuminati is real.
The Illuminati is real. Or is real. Get it? All right, let's start reading. All right, so I got this for you. Hey, let me close this up. We are going to get into some matrix. First thing we're going to read, we're going to look at this book called The Occult Roots of Nazism. Pay attention. Pay attention. Secret Aryan cults and their influence on Nazi ideology. The Occult Roots of Nazism by Nicholas Goodrich Clerk. Dirty ideology. Here's one of the pages we're going to look at, 49, 56, 66. Wotanism and Germanic theosophy. Remember the video? Remember the video yesterday we covered about Edom, and how Odin, Wooden, Wutan, Gatur, Kaz, which is chaos, or Kaz, the deity of the Edomites. Remember that? Okay. So as you can see, this Nazism, there is something to it. Nazism, the Armanenschaft, and the secret heritage. Okay? The secret heritage. Let me get to the... Hold on, let me see. Which one is it? So I don't have to go through all the... This is why I don't like doing that PDF shit, man. It fucking takes forever. Chisbatos, way. Chisbato! No, just kidding. We're going to go to page... we started page 49. I mean, it was that, but I thought I had highlighted something else. All right, we're going to start at page 49. It says Wotanism, Wooden, right? The German god Odin, the deity of the Edomites. You understand what I'm saying? All right. No, they're coming. Everybody called me. I would let you use my phone, but I'm playing the music. So here we see, remember I told you yesterday, Valhalla, we'll see you in Valhalla. The Hindu dude said that shit. All right, so look, it says here, the Old North poetry of Iceland painted the colorful mythology of its pagan inhabitants, whom lists regarded as Wotanist, refugees from Christian persecution in early medieval Germany. In early medieval, that's like the Dark Ages. The Edda thus recorded the myth and beliefs of the ancient Germs. In the Edda, Woden was worshipped as the god of war and the lord of the dead heroes in Valhalla. See you in Valhalla. He was also identified as a magician and a necromancer in the poems. You know what a necromancer means? Necromancer. Just need to put an end there. Necromancy means what? The practice of magic. Okay. That's what it means. So now we understand like how these people are gaining power. This is not awkward to Edom. Edom will worship demons. It says here also in the bottom, as a result of pain, the performer of these rituals gained certain magical and psychic powers. So here we see that the Havamal or the Voluspa describes the Hawutan performed ritual acts of self-torture in order to win the magical gnosis of natural mysteries. Remember, you guys ever heard of the Opus Dei? Opus Dei. Here, I'll tell you. Opus Dei. Right? These guys. And they were known to be that type of people. It's like a sect within the church, Jesuits, right? And they practice that particular, ritual, self-torture. Can I find it here? No, can't. So they're not going to talk about it, obviously, in Wikipedia. But that's why you see that in churches. They're like, Padre Nuestro, they're castigándose como pendejos, güey, like whipping their back and shit. I'm sorry, Diosito, Jesucristo mío, mi Madre María. Por favor, perdóname. No quería pecar el otro día. Fucking dumbasses, bro. Pinches pendejos. No offense, but I'm telling you, you are pendejo. I mean, come on, man. Seriously. Y'all are performing some fucking mystic rituals. According to the late 19th century scholars, these acts reflected a form of shamanism.
Wait a minute. Where are you?
Pinches mágicos, güey. As a result of the pain, the performer of these rituals gained certain magical and physical powers. It's the same thing they used to do in Rome. For Valentine's, they would actually whip each other with some like a látigo made out of leather, obviously, full of blood and shit. And they're like, whip you. Dude, it's crazy. You guys need to do that shit. Do your history on it. In the Havamal, Wutan was wounded by this is where it gets crazy. Watch this. This is where it gets crazy because, it says the Christmas Christian story. And I say that with all due respect, family. I know some of you guys believe in the New Testament. We got to go deep into that book again because there's things that I need to show you once more. Okay? In the Havamal, Wutan was wounded by a spear and hung up on a windswept tree without food or drink for 9 nights. Who was hung from a tree for 9 hours, wasn't given food or anything, and then was stabbed with a spear? I'm not kidding, family. In this channel, we ask all questions. If you're offended already, you might as well leave. Because that ritual is obviously clear to these Germans, to these Romans. You see the New Testament, how he stayed there 9 hours, from 9 to 6, I believe, right? 9 to 6. When the sun was about to be down. Was it 6 hours or 9 hours? I think it was maybe 6. Maybe I'd be wrong in that. But the whole point is that he was hung on a tree and stabbed with a spear. You know, the spear of destiny? Yep, that one. Now let's continue. Page 51. It says, Lys also formed his new religion from archaic material and in the opposition to the modern world. His doctrine emphasized the power of the individual spirit in the sanctuary within the cosmos of nature. Watch this. As the alleged gnosis of the ancient Germans, this religion was to be revived as the faith and moral cement of a pan-German realm. You've seen pan-African, pan-this, but have you ever seen pan-German? This is what they're doing. This is the WASP with their pan-German ideology. It's an occult. It's a ritual. You think that Epstein, the children disappearing, you think it's just because? Nah, watch this. Watch, just pay attention. Okay, the first source concerns the writings of Max Ferdinand Sebald von Werth. Sebald had begun his literacy career as the editor of periodical Das Angewat, whatever, Christendom, 1891, in collaboration with Moritz von Egidi, a prominent Lebanon reformer in Germany. He was also a prolific writer on the travel in foreign countries. However, in 1897, he began to publish thick volumes on the subject of sexology. His Wanadis and DIS sexual religion described the sexual religion of the Aryans, a sacred practice of eugenics designed to maintain the purity of the race. You see? Do you see this? All right. Follow here. Both works were published by Wilhelm Friedrich, which you could say he's a self-proclaimed chosen of Leipzig, a publisher known for his many theosophical editions and will illustrate it with magical curved armed swastika by the theosophical artist Feudus. Now keep in mind that we saw swastika as well as the Star David together in the same picture, right? You remember that? Okay. They're not any different, family. It says here, according to Sebald, ancient Aryan cosmology was defined by the creative act of God Mundel Fori, who whisked the universe out of his primal fiery chaos. You see, they are all governed by chaos. It is in their nature to govern by chaos. I mean, you can see it, right? It's right there. Oh, what up, bro? Good to have you here. I haven't seen you in a bit. What up, brother? Good to have you here, man. I haven't seen this brother in a bit. Joe Ray Jacques. That's how you say your name, dude. Jacques. No, it's Hake way. It's Jacques. Anyways, let's continue. There subsequently arose a popular dualism typified by the opposite principle of matter and spirit and the male and female sexes. You see this right here? So he insisted that eugenics was essentially an Aryan superiority because only a bond of pure opposites could release the primal energy underlying their polarity and thereby generate excellent progeny. That's why Trompeta says, you got to have good genes. You're fucking dumb, bro. I don't know how good that could be. All right. It says here on page, I think page 52. Yep. We'll continue. It says he also claimed that the swastika was a holy Aryan symbol since it derived from Feverquero fire whisk with which Mulder 40 had initially twirled the cosmos into being. So, right? So it's like, here we go right there. Right? You see those examples? Now it says here, hold on, let me read this. Okay. He also wrote for the first time about the immorality of the soul, reincarnation, and its karmic determination. He distinguished between esoteric Wotanist or Wotanist and exoteric and esoteric Armanist. So the exoteric is like the basic for the basic people, like baptism, shit like that, and all that stuff. But the esoteric was considered an Armanist, and it was more like deafness of the understanding of what their doctrine is. Forms of religious doctrines and hinted at the total authority of initiates over the ordinary people in ancient Germany. The Teutonic gods, Wodan, Donner, and Loki, were interpreted as symbols for esoteric cosmology ideas, the Delbaltian stamp of which would have been quite evident to the contemporary. So, for example, all the stuff that I be sharing with you guys, like they don't even know. Even like East Edomites, like Anglo-Saxons, they don't even know this shit. They're like all dealing with the exoteric. Oh my God, we're so great now. You don't even understand what's going on. Watch it. It even gets more interesting. His notes and reference indicate such works as Madame Blavatsky. Now, we all know that Blavatsky was a fucking devil worshiper. You get what I'm saying? So he's referencing these people. So this whole concept of Christianity, Jesus, whatever. Nah, bro, you guys are demons. You don't even know what you're worshiping. You call him, his name is Saint fucking Germain. Saint Germain. Saint Germain is your man. That's your Jesus. You just don't want to call him Saint Germain. It says, let's no longer term the ancient native Germans or a people, but Aryo-Germans. So Lys is a person. It's the Lost Lemuria. I'm by the way, that reminded me. I forgot to get that book, which I'm going to use regarding the other topic. We're going to have to, ask questions on because it's. Anyways, let me continue. But Aryo-Germans and a race. You see this? As if to stress their identity with the fifth root race in Blavatsky's ontological scheme. Do you know what that fifth race is? Do you want to know what that is? It's called Atlantis. Lemuria. I'll show you. Look, Atlantis and Lemuria. See? That's what it means.
They told you Atlantis was just a myth. They told you Lemuria never existed.
See?
But what?
You see this? This is why these things matter. I'm not going to take one name and then all of a sudden assume a lot of different things. I'm going to use a lot of different sources to confirm that that's what it is. When you actually look at the depthness of the word itself, we're going to touch on this topic, but it's just, again, me, family, I have a very broad approach on things. And eventually we get to the minute detail. You get what I mean? I like to stress detail because when you understand the detail, you see the thorough history. You see what I mean? Like I always have this motto in my mind. Like I never heard it before. Like I focus on the minute detail to see the bigger picture. Like I work on the minute detail to see the bigger picture. I'm doing the same for you guys. We're looking at the minute detail to see the bigger picture. You see now where we're going with this? These people, not only the so-called Africans, West Africans predominantly, are they believing this Atlantis stuff, but we also see Blavatsky, entomology, Satanism, Anglo-Saxons, Wodan, Edom. You get what I mean? It's too close for comfort for me. That's what I'm saying. But let's continue. The Watanist priesthood, which Lys had first discussed in early 1890s, was now transformed into an exalted Gnostic elite of initiates. You see? Elites. Elites. You guys ain't part of that picture. You're all collateral damage. I've been saying this shit for a while. You're finally getting it, though. Which corresponds to the Hierophants in The Secret Doctrine, the Die Rita der Audio Herman, the rights of the Aryo-Germans. So the Secret Doctrine is, I think it's Blavatsky, if I'm not mistaken. The rights of the Aryo-Germans, I have not gotten that book. So let me remind myself to come back. These were all Aryo-Germanic beliefs. Okay? Chapters heading were supplemented with the cryptic theosophy, and the chapter heading were supplemented with the cryptic theosophical sigils. They're right here. The cross, right? He also mentions the airships and cyclopean structures of the Atlanteans. Now that's where it gets interesting. You see, the thing is this, that Diodorus Siculus had actually mentioned about the Atlanteans, and the Atlanteans are no one else but the people in Africa over there. And again, the topic is not this right now, but as you can see, I'm connecting the dots to every single piece. Everything I do is for a purpose. It's not just because. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like everything I do is for a purpose. For the most part. Die Religion der Aryo-Germain. It says, presented a long discussion of the Hindu cosmic cycles, which had inspired Blavatsky hypothesis of rounds. Remember, Blavatsky is a Satan, like Luciferian. They believe that the Bible is not saying that God is the God. It's saying that Satan is the light bearer, the morning star, the true God, and that the creator, Yahoo, is the evil God. Seriously. This was evidently fascinated by the numerical correspondence between the arithmetical riddle and the grimnismal of the Ada and the number of years of the Kalu Yuga, the shortest and most decadent of the Hindu cycles. But you know what's so interesting? That this is also part of the theory, or at least the doctrine of, what do you call it? The Tetragrammaton, the Sephiroth. Then he says he acknowledged Blavatsky's whatever as a source of his speculation. Astrological analysis also appeared in his work in 1910. It says the diluvial, look, watch this, okay? So listen to this real quick. I'm going to go back to here. He also evidenced for his debt to Blavatsky in his adoption of the seven root races. Hold on a second. 7 root races for each round. It says Liszt claimed that the Aryo-Germans represented the 5th and the current and the present rounds, while scribing the names of mythical Teutonic giants for the 4 preceding races. The diluvial Atlanteans, apparently they were drowned because this is what Plato wrote, but Plato also got it from a guy named Solon, who supposedly got it from Egyptians, who then again, Egyptians are also referenced to not really be Egyptians. That's why it's saying that they're also maybe could be from India. You see what I mean? If you want to get into history, well, we can go there, we can go deep into history, but then things starts getting really awkward. So the diluvial Atlanteans were equated with the kinfolks of the giant Bergelmer, who was supposed to have survived a flood in Norse mythology. See this? While the third race were reckoned to be the kinsmen of the giant Thrugelmer. In common with Blavatsky, Liszt suggested that this third race, her Lumerians, had been the first to propagate themselves through sexual reproduction. The 2 earlier races, namely the kinsmen of Imar or Olgormir, were androgynous. Sheesh. See what I mean? So this concept of, like it's not new to them. This whole, like parodist and, you know what I'm saying? Like this alphabet situation, Republicans claiming they're not and they fucking are in secret. It's in their nature. You see what I mean? Like it's weird, bro. It's really fucking weird, to be honest with you. We're androgynous and clearly corresponds to Blavatsky's astral and hypoborean races. It says on the bottom, page 53, I think 54, sorry. To the root races of the Lumerians and Atlanteans, he assigned homelands on the sunken continents in accordance with the speculations of William Scott Elliott, whose map he reproduced. And it's not nowhere here. And as a matter of fact, they say that those people, Atlanteans, or supposedly from Atlantis, they were not us. They're like white and fucking whatever. All like the movies you see. That's what they believe in. I'm not lying. We'll touch on that. Again, I know it's, you know, I'm not rubbing on the topic. I'm telling you that all of these things matter. Okay? Page 55. List borrowed several ideas from the younger man. Remember, List is a person. List borrowed several ideas from the younger man. The occult significance of the Templar, the Manichaeans, struggle between the master race, the Iro-Germans, and the slave race, the non-Aryans. And a theory about the original homeland of the Aryans, a vanished polar continent called Artoga. Like, you ever seen those maps? Supposedly, like, there's more to land than what we know. Yeah, that's what they say. Now, let's go to what this means. Okay? The word Armenamskov, which List applied to his ancient hierarchy, can be traced to the spurious adaptations of a Teutonic myth related by Tacitus in his Germania. According to Roman authors, the ancient Germans had preserved an account of their origin in traditional songs. These songs celebrated an earthborn god, Tuisco, and his son Manus as the founders of their race. See this? The Manus, they assigned 3 sons, after whom the 3 constituent tribes of ancient Germany took their names. The coastal tribes were called Ingalvenos, those of interior were called Hermiones, and the remainder is Asteavones. Okay, so we see these names, and I know that probably wondering what all this matters. Trust and believe, family, it does. Now let's go to this real quick, and we're almost through with this book. List descriptions of Armenashkov, structure borrowed concepts from Freemasonry and who? And Rosicrucianism. See? You see how he said the Jesuits, the Franks, and the Masons. The Franks are Khazars. Jesuits are Anglos. The Freemasons are Psalms 83. Do you understand? It says the elite priesthood was divided in 3 grades, corresponding to the grade of entered apprentice, fellow craft, master mason. In lodge hierarchy, each grade represented a certain degree of initiation into the gnosis, with a clear image of Masonic ritual in mind. List claimed that each grade of the ancient priesthood had its own particular sign and grips and passwords. A novice spent 7 years learning the Edda and the elementary theosophy before proceeding to the grade of brother. At this stage in his training, he traveled to other Armanist centers in order to gain working experience as a priest, governor, and educator. After 7 years in his grade, a suitable qualified brother might proceed to the grade of master as a full initiate. He was then privy to the ultimate secrets of Gnosis, meaning Lucifer is who their god is, which could not be communicated by language. List characterized these secrets by such occult formulate as the lost master word, the unutterable name of God, and the philosopher's stone, cooled from Masonic, Kabbalistic, and alchemical lore of the 18th century, or the swastika, right? So remember, keep in mind that you can't have Freemasonry without the Talmud. You see what I mean? You cannot have Freemasonry without the Talmud. His own Gothic motto formed by these vows, Freemasonry thus provided List with a model for a hierarchical priesthood whose power derived from initiation. My friends, it can't get any fucking deeper than this shit here. The story of this mystification can be properly understood only in relation to the growth of the irrationalism in the mid-18th century. This trend was partly a reaction to the practical reforming attitude of Enlightenment absolute prince in Germany, which appeared to interfere with the traditional legend privilege, ecclesiastical immunities, or popular prejudice. Okay, let me see. There was a reason why I highlighted this. So maybe it was just for me. I'll read it here in the bottom. It says these groups were responsible for a revival of interest in the arcane material of alchemy, Rosicrucianism, and Freemasonry. These reformations was to be achieved through the union of Protestantism with magic, alchemy, and Kabbalism. Let me read it from the top. The origins of Rosicrucianism lie in the beginning of the 17th century when two anonymous Rosicrucians manifestos and the related Christmish whatever of Joan Valentin Andrade, 1586 through 1654, was printed. It says these manifestos announced the existence of a secret brotherhood, which desired a universal and general reformation of the whole wide world. You see this? You understand now what we're dealing with? You understand now why they want to take control of the whole wide world. The brotherhood was putatively founded by Christian Rosenkreuz, a German mystic who was supposed to have lived from 1378 to 1884. This reformation was achieved through the union of Protestantism with magic. You see this? White Anglo-Saxons, you are not worshippers of so-called the Messiah. You are worshippers of your own demons. Klaus Epstein. What a coincidence, right? Epstein. What a coincidence. Now, this is where it gets interesting because it talks about the Kabbalistic tree. That's called the Sephiroth. You see this? Germans knew this. Theodor Roos, who had founded in 1902 irregular Masonic and Rosicrucian lodges in Germany with the authority of William Westcott. Klaus was a Jew, by the way. Several Roos were Jews. Do you kind of see where we are going with what we're seeing? I'll read it at this point. At the beginning of the 18th century, the institution of modern Freemasonry arose. It should be emphasized that his new organization of meeting houses was institutionally linked with the old working lodges of operative Masons and master builders, which dated from the 14th and 15th century. The Freemasons had begun joining the operative lodge at the end of the 17th century to form an organization in which the professional and upper classes could discuss contemporary affairs and businesses in an enlightened and congenial atmosphere. This is who wrote your 1776. These are the people that wrote your 1776 Declaration of Independence. Seriously. These mythologies entered the late 19th century occultism through the influential writings of French occultist Eliphas Levi. French. But he has a last name Levi, claimed to be Jew. Those writings on magic were instituted by Blavatsky. Again, mentions her. White supremacy has everything to do with Luciferian teachings. Do you understand that? Reuchlin had been acclaimed as the father of German humanism for his pioneering work on Greek and Hebrew texts. Educated at several universities, Reuchlin initially qualified as a lawyer and entered the service of court, in 1482. He was ennobled for his services by Emperor Maximilian in 1494. During a visit to Italy, Reuchlin had met Pico della Mirandola, yada, yada, yada. You see what it is. But hold on. He was convinced that the philosophy of Plato had its origin in the Jewish mystical book of the Kabbalah. Understand that? He was convinced that the philosophy of Plato had its origins in the Jewish mystical book of the Kabbalah, which means that that's where he got also supposedly the imaginary thought process of Atlantis. We'll get deeper into that another time. But all of these things matter. The heroic Aryo-Germanic race was to be relieved of all wages, labor, and demeaning task in order to rule an exalted elite over the slave caste of non-Aryan people. Let me read that again. I'll go here. List blueprints for a new pan-German empire was detailed and ambiguous. It called for the ruthless subjugation of non-Aryans to Aryan masters in a highly structured hierarchical state. The qualification of candidates for education or position in public services, the professions and commerce rested solely on their racial purity. You see that? You see what I'm saying? Now watch this. The heroic Aryo-Germanic race was to be relieved of all wage laborers and the meaning task. Let the Mexicans do it. In order to rule as an exalted elite over the slave caste of non-Aryan people. This is what they told all these cracker barrels here. They told all you stupid white people, right, that claim to be so superior, they made you believe this shit. They really made you believe it. And you went with it. These ideas, published as early as 1911, bear an uncanny resemblance to the Nuremberg racial laws of 1930 and Nazi vision of the future. But List went further still. List is a person anticipating the mystical elitism of the SS in Nazi Germany. Who's teaching this right now? Today. You know who? Anglo-Saxons. They're doing that shit. The sons of Esau, the sons of Edom, sons and daughters of Esau and Edom. But List went further still, anticipating the mystical elitism of the SS in Nazi Germany. It says the hierarchical structure of the Aryo-Germanic society was based on the Kabbalistic tree of life. Give me a second, family. A second, family. I have to help my son real quick. Hold on, all right? Just be a minute. My bad. I had to take care of something real quick. Okay, so at least you guys can get an idea. The Aryo-Germanic society, okay, was based on Kabbalistic tree of life. Now, maybe to some of you guys, that shit doesn't matter. But it does matter to me. We are definitely going to have to do this in a couple parts, family. Because I gotta, man, something came up. Yeah, whatever. Maybe some other time. You know what I mean? Okay, so now we're gonna look at. Matter of fact, I think I'm just gonna do 2 more books and then we out. Okay, so I gotta take care of this with my family here. All right, so we are now looking at this book called A History of the Jews from the Babylonian exile to the present, 5728 to 1968. Okay, so he's talking about from way back to today. This is interesting. It says here, dominions of the Khazars in the 9th century. Starts on page 256, right? So we're just going to target these names, right? It says here, the Khazars, an equally fascinating story, but carrying a great measure of truth and dealing with the spread of Judaism during those days, occurred in another distant part of the world. Around the year 600, a belligerent tribe of half Mongolian people, similar to the modern Turks, had conquered the territory of what is now southern Russia. See right here? Okay, that's Kiev, Ukraine. All right? Southern Russia, it says here. Before long, the kingdom of the Khazars, as the tribe was known, stretched from Caspian to the Black Sea. Its capital city, Itil, was the mouth of the Volga River. The Khazars mingled with the native Slavics population. Jewish, Christians, and Mohammedan merchants visited them, and these contacts had a cultural result. Sometime during the 8th century, the Khazar king and nobility became civilized enough to want to abandon their pagan worship and adopt monotheistic, I believe, religion, about which the visitors from the neighboring lands to the south used to tell them. But with monotheistic religions was, but which monotheistic religion was it to be? The merchants from the Byzantine Eastern Rome Empire urged Christianity upon them. The merchants from Persia urged them to adopt Mohammedanism. Both of these were the religions of the mighty conquering kingdoms. Each argued that God was on its side. Apparently, each of these religions won a large number of adherents among the Khazars. But the royal family, the elites, and the largest number of the nobility were impressed with Judaism. That was the religion they adopted, though they did not force it upon others. Bullshit, they did. For several centuries, the Jewish kingdom of the Khazars continued to rule over southern Russia, and even the Prince of Kiev paid them tribute. By the end of the 10th century, the strength of the Russian increased, especially after their king accepted the Greek Catholic faith and joined forces with the Byzantines. Though the Khazars' kingdom declined, recent investigation seems to indicate that they themselves maintained their rule over much of their former territories down to the Tatar invasion in 1240. Their state then came to an end, though a good many of them remain, quote-unquote, Jews or converts. That's what it is. Some mingled with converts of the Byzantine Empire. Others remained as converts within the Muscovite Principality. But even those who adopted Christianity retained many convert observance. It is interesting to speculate whether the observance of the Shabbat among the certain clans of Kazakhs in the territory now known as Ukraine, which the Russian church was still attempting to stamp out late in the 18th century. What's an echo of the ancient Khazar influence? You see this? Page 57. Oh, hold on. Wait, that is page 87. Hold on, page 57. Let's go to page 292. It says here that, hold on. Now, this is a conversation between them. I want to show you that in another book. Let's see real quick here. Let's see. Judah HaLevi, a philosopher, Judah HaLevi, was another example of a poet who was also a philosopher. He named his book the Kuzari after the Khazars, for he used the story of their conversion to Judaism as a thread on which to hang his discussion of the merits of Judaism, Mohammedanism, and Christianity. These are the same religions that are about fighting with each other, right? He introduced his book by giving each religion a spokesman who defended it against the criticism of the other two. The Khazar king and his court acting as judge. Naturally, it is the spokesman for Judaism who gets the best of the argument and finally wins Khazar king over to the Jewish faith. You see this? They even wrote it themselves. They even wrote it themselves. This is nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. The Khazars. This was the time when the Khazars entered upon the scene. They had already been mentioned several occasions, so the story of their conversion need not be repeated here, except the emphasis that at first only the royal family and many of the upper class adopted the Jewish faith. In time, Judaism no doubt spread among the Khazar population. But there were Christians and pagans among them to the end, for their government believed in religious tolerance. When the Khazar kingdom was defeated by the Muscovite Russians, many Jews among them, remember converts, joined such others as had already penetrated Russia. Kiev especially profited from their migration, from this migration, remaining the most prosperous and progressive Russian town down to the 13th century. Vague reference to converts whose native language was Russian and who read their Bible in Russian are to be found in the Respona of the rabbis in Germany in the 12th and 13th century. Whether these were the descendants of Khazars or the Crimean converts, it is impossible to say. Probably they were a mixture of both, nor does it make any difference except to those who are more interested in fanciful theories of race than in matters of religion and humanity. You see this, right? I'm saying, you see how you guys became these so-called self-proclaimed Jews. All of a sudden now you want to kick out people that supposedly don't belong there, yet you don't belong there either. You don't belong there. Dispensa. No sound. Well, either way, it wasn't reading nothing anyways. It's just showing Khazars right here. Okay. By the way, this book is called The Lost Tribes of Myth, Suggestions Towards Rewriting Hebrew History. I don't know why it's doing this. Honestly, I don't understand. It's never done this. I look at these books and it never does this shit. As soon as I do the live, it just fucking does that shit, bro. See my on his way. You see what I mean? This is crazy. This is crazy, bro. This is fucking nuts. Being cheesy, have a little bit. No, it doesn't want to load. Oh my fuck. Really, bro? You really doing this now? For real, yo? Okay, finally, I think. Wow. Look, I'm not kidding, fam. This is fucking pathetic. It's crazy. This is fucking crazy. Anyways, all right, look, this was the last one. What's it? Almost 2 hours. This was the last one, so it doesn't seem to work now. All right, so we're going to try one more time. If not, I mean, this is it. I'm going to have to break this down in 2-3 classes, okay? 2-3 classes. At least. All right, so it's working finally. All right, so let's just kind of cover this real quick. It says here regarding the Khazars. How important we may think the Yahwist spiritualist conquest in Abyssinia and North Africa. They have been immeasurable, exceeded in permanent value to Judaism by Judaism conquest among the Khazars and Scythians. The Khazars spread between the Don and Lower Volga, pushing the Sarmatians westward to absorb the previously independent Iranic Scythians. But it should not be supposed that such Khazar movement meant complete extermination of the earlier population, nor in the case of settled people does such an invasion as the Khazar result in a complete migration of the older settled population. All right, let's see. Much of it remains as an important element in the new political regime, I think. And such absorbed peoples may strongly affect their conquerors. It is a mistake to write off the Khazar kingdom as composed of a single unmixed ethnic group. The invaders included white Khazars, others black as Hindus. There are several well-known migrations through the southern Russia. Keeps mentioning that, right? Southern Russia. The earlier Iranic migration from of the Caucasus and Black Sea in Asia Minor were noticed in the chapter 5. It says here, so when the Khazars' incursions are said to be reached the plains of the Lower Volga by 400 BC and have spread through the Caucasus to the borders of Armenia by 198 AD, I don't understand how all of a sudden Khazars are mentioned in 400 BC. That's not true. That is so not fucking true. Interesting. It is not true. But let's continue. It says here that it is recognized by historians and ethnologists that Byzantine and Arab writers called all the mingled people of the Don and Lower Volga Khazars. The fact seems ignored by some convert writers upon the conversion of Khazars. Reclus records that the term included the preceding Iranic people of the Don Volga, the invading Naga Tartars, the Georgians of Karthuli, and some of the southern Talish, whatever, right? It says here, our spokespartners subject to the Khazar movement. So we see this here, right? So that's just them trying to explain their things. But it says here, Huns and Bulgars also became elements of the denomination. During the 800 year following their reaching of Armenian frontiers, the Khazar direct group battled with the Armenians. And then with Arabs for control of the Transcaucasia, and also pushed northwestward from the Black Sea and Caucasus nearly to the Gulf of Finland. The Crimea became known as Khazaria. The Crimea. Where is Crimea? Where is Crimea? Where is it located? Ukraine. You see this? You see this? This is Russia. Ukraine. You see this? Now you understand how these people mingle with these people here, mingle with those people there, mingle with Polish there, Germans. You see this? Hungary, Slovenia, Austria. That's where the fucking main Nazi came from. Adolf Hitler was born in Austria. He wasn't born in Germany. All these people, Croatia, all of that shit, they're all, for the most part, Christians or Judaic. Christians or Judaic. You see what I mean? Christians or Judaic. Let's see. The question of the historic conversion of certain rulers of the Khazar Empire in Russia about 679 AD, more than 1,000 years after the Khazars began to appear in the Lower Volga, is then primarily a question of the spread of earlier Yahwism or later Judaism among the numerous early ethnic groups around the Black Sea and among the earlier Khazars. It is preposterous to suppose that none of the Khazar directed commingling with Judaized during the first 1,000 years of their residence among the people where Judaism had been at work before the Khazar advent, whatever. So now they're like, well, you know, it's not true. Their conversion wasn't solely only in 800 AD or 700 AD. Though the Khazar ruling class was driven from Russia in 8,000 years ago, many different ethnic elements remain commingled in the present Judaism of Western and Southern Russia and Poland. In a vast numerical preponderance, amounting to the 3/4 of ecumenical Judaism, compels an inquiry. Were these names numerous ethnic elements in South Russia in pre-Khazar times? And how early, by what routes did Judaism reach those people who in later times proselytized the Khazar rulers? You see? So supposedly that didn't really happen, I guess. That's why they try to say 400 BC. All right, so I'm gonna have to break it down in 2 hours, family. So check this out. Let me see. That's the last part. All right, so look, this is the first one. Sorry, I have to do it this way. Hubris, annihilation, all the same Caucasians, all the same. I'm gonna show you guys how deep this rabbit hole is. Okay. I don't know if you guys like that I put the chats on to show. Let me know if you guys like that, or do you prefer just seeing the actual screen? What up, Estudiante? Good to have you here, bro. Kind of showed up a little late. Golf shoot. Good to have you here, bro. I do appreciate you, but you're not gonna get a good answer. What's this video about? Brother said hubris and annihilation. What does that mean? There you go, right there. That's a good answer. I mean, it's like I share a lot of information, bro. It's kind of like difficult to summarize it. You got to just watch it. You know what I mean? But good to have you here, man. You know, whether you show up late, it's all good. We're basically done. Reality is it's recorded. So, you know, like, we don't lose. Lord willing, they don't try to take this shit. I don't think so. I didn't say no controversial stuff. I think hopefully, maybe tomorrow I should be able to get some time. I'm going to try to keep these classes as close as they can together so you guys can see part 1, part 2, and possibly part 3. I may just do part 2 and extend it to another hour, 3 hours, okay? But again, we are one. Shit, man. We got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got another 12 books to show and some videos. Yeah, I know, man. But you know, let me not leave you with nothing. I think this is important to kind of determine this shit. We're gonna end it with this video. I'll give you guys that. Nah, you know, this is kind of long. Let me do this another day. Give me a second. You know what? Hold on. Let me take this out. I don't need that video no more. Let's see this one. Nah, you know, I'll just save it. I'll just save it for another time. But anyways, family, appreciate you guys being here again. You know, my son needs help. He's spending. Sorry. Let me finish it with these videos and then we out. You guys have a good evening. Hope you appreciate the material. And I will try to do the other class tomorrow so I can keep them together. Okay, I'll do my best. Hopefully tomorrow is not a crazy day. All right, let's go.
Llegaron con promesas y banderas de libertad. Dejaron sangre, deuda y una falsa paz. Hablan de democracia desde un trono de acero, pero nuestras calles conocen su verdadero imperio. Robaron tierras es nombre, sueños y pan. Con dictadores firmaron la seguridad. Desde el norte mandan órdenes al sur, pero este pueblo ya perdió el miedo y alzó la luz. No somos patio trasero, no somos colonia más. La historia se escribe en fuego y hoy la vamos a cambiar. ¡Fuera, yanquis de América Latina! Esta tierra no se vende, se camina. ¡Fuera, yanquis de América Latina! Nuestra voz no se silencia ni se inclina. ¡Fuera! América Latina no se domina. América Latina no se domina. Países militares sobre pueblos sin voz. Corporaciones mandando más que Dios. Llaman ayuda al saqueo legal, pero la dignidad no la pueden comprar. Desde el río Bravo hasta la Patagonia, un mismo grito rompe la hegemonía. Indígena, obrero, estudiante y canción, somos millones latiendo en revolución. No somos su negocio, no somos su botín. Aquí manda la memoria de los que lucharon hasta el fin. ¡Fuera, yanquis de América Latina! Ni bloqueos ni balas nos arrodillan. ¡Fuera, yanquis de América Latina! Soberanía viva, libre y combativa. ¡Fuera! 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 América Latina no se domina. América Latina no se domina. No más mentiras, no más imperios sobre nuestras vidas. La patria es grande, la lucha también. Si tocan a uno, respondemos 100. Fuera, yanquis de América Latina. Desde el barrio hasta la cordillera. Fuera, yanquis de América Latina. Este continente ya decidió su bandera.
Hay un adulto jugando a la guerra como un niño rico sin educación. Lanza impuestos como fichas desde un trono de televisión. Nunca pisa la tierra que quema, nunca paga su destrucción. Manda bombas por berrinche y le llaman decisión. No es carácter, es violencia, no es poder, es corrupción. Cuando manda el capricho ajeno, tiembla el pueblo pero alza la voz. Deciden el interés nacional sobre tierras que no son suyas. Boca llena de riqueza, manos blancas, balas sucias. El muerto siempre es el pobre, el botín no cambia de dueño. 20 años de invasiones, repiten el mismo cuento. Prometieron libertad, llegaron con ocupación. Se llevaron el futuro y dejaron desolación. Tengo rabia contra el imperio, un lamento con razón. Cuando un pendejo con dinero juega a ser Dios con un botón. No hay guerra que sea juego, no hay misil que dé razón. Solo madres enterrando lo que el rico no lloró. Por Venezuela alzó el grito, no la uses de distracción. Que decida su camino, sin bloqueo ni invasión. Que no repitan el cuento de salvar con ocupación. Ya sabemos cómo acaba, con pobreza y represión. Que se escuche desde el cerro, desde el barrio y el solar. Los pueblos no son juguetes de quien no sabe mandar. La riqueza firma órdenes desde arriba y en lo alto, pero el hambre ejecuta en la casa y en el rancho. Se reparten los mapas como herencia del patrón, y el mundo paga el berrinche del mimado con cañón. Detengan al niño rico, no con balas, con prisión. La arrogancia se detiene cuando el pueblo alza la voz. No más guerras por capricho, no más muerte por control. Que el poder baje del trono y responda por su horror. Que decida quién trabaja, quién resiste y quién nació. La autodeterminación no se compra con terror. El respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz, no imposición. Si el poder vende la vida, que retumbe el corazón.
Nos llaman indios. Nos llaman indios como insulto. Mírate bien criollo. Llegaste con acero, viruela y despojo. No fue encuentro de mundos, fue violación del territorio. Vientres forzados, linajes rotos, memoria en el abandono. Le pusieron mestizaje al trauma repetido para que el crimen histórico pareciera con sentido. Quemaron códices, dioses, calendarios y luego dijeron que aquí no había civilización ni sabios. Trajeron la cruz con sangre todavía fresca, oro rumbo a Castilla, pueblos hechos mercancía. El maíz alimentó imperios que jamás sembraron y aún hoy viven del trabajo indígena que despreciaron. Se burlan del color, del guaracho y la lengua, pero su riqueza nace del sidor que niegan. Hablan de civilización desde tierras robadas, pero la raíz más pura sigue en la sierra olvidada. Presumen apellidos, linaje español, pero Oaxaca conserva lo que les falta hoy. No es orgullo blanco, es miedo a recordar que sin pueblos originarios no hay país que nombrar. País que nombrar. País que nombrar. País. Yeah. México no nació en 1521, ni en un palacio. Ya había ley, ciencia, escritura, observando el espacio. Olmeca, maya, zapoteca, mixteca. No eran tribus perdidas, eran naciones complejas. Pero el Estado aprendió a borrar con discurso. Todos mestizos para tapar el genocidio en curso. Te enseñaron a odiar tu piel y tu acento, a reírte del abuelo para encajar en el centro. Te dijeron, si vives en ciudad ya no eres indígena. Como si el concreto borrara la sangre que sigue viva. Mestizo no significa ablesia ni negación, significa herida viva sin reparación. Se llaman blancos en un país de maíz, aspiran a Europa mientras niegan su raíz. Hablan de pureza con la boca manchada, pero la continuidad genética vive en la comunidad marginada. No es atraso defender la tierra y el agua, atraso es repetir el mito que la élite propaga. La élite propaga. La élite propaga. El agua siguen vivos aunque los borren del mapa. Purépechas resisten aunque el Estado les ataca. Potunarcas o comires más aguas de piel, aunque los llamen invasores en su propio Edén. Rara morir corriendo mientras les quitan la sierra. Yaquis masacrados por defender la tierra. Que soxiles, celdanes, choles y soques, criminalizados por no vender sus montes. Mixas y triquis perseguidos por existir. Guerrero y Chiapas sangrando sin fin. Y un pieza sistemática, sin cámaras ni ruido. Primero matan la lengua, luego al individuo. Escuelas que castigan hablar la raíz. Medios que pintan al indígena como gris. Indígena pobre, sospechoso automático. Así funciona el racismo estructural y mediático. Le roban el nombre, el río y la historia, y luego exigen silencio, olviden memoria selectoria. Se ríen del bar, del rezo y del telar. Pero comen tacos y símbolos pa' lucrar. Folclorizan la cultura pa'l coviste extranjero, pero ignoran al niño indígena muriendo primero. Celebran pirámides, niegan a la gente. Aman la piedra muerta, odian al viviente. Usan Día de Muertos con marca nacional, pero desaparecen vivos sin escándalo oficial. Hablan de vida con memoria mutilada, una patria levantada sobre sangre legada. Ser indígena no es disfraz ni museo, es presente vivo aunque les quena al espejo. La piel morena no es error ni retraso, es código antiguo sosteniendo el espacio. No me hablen de unidad sin justicia real, no hay nación sin verdad, sin escucha. México, deja de huir de ti. No eres Europa aunque lo repitas 1000 veces así. Tu raíz es maíz, obsidiana y barro. No apellido importado ni linaje prestado. Deja de odiar al espejo que te formó, al indígena vivo dentro de tu voz. Mestizo no es blanqueamiento ni traición, es aceptar la herida y sanar la nación. Mientras el sistema borra, el pueblo recuerda. La sangre no se borra aunque la niegues entera. No somos atraso, somos continuidad. Para esos hispanistas que venden la tierra y la historia, que besan la mano blanca y le llaman memoria. Cambian maíz por corona, raíz por apellido. Se dicen herederos del que siempre fue invasivo. Son traidores conscientes o el reflejo del colonizador. La misma voz del imperio hablando desde el interior. Defienden al colono, atacan al sobreviviente. Blanquean la conquista para no verse en la gente. No es amor a España, es desprecio a lo propio. Es negarse en el espejo y rezarle al odio.
Estamos aquí, oye, que estamos aquí. Mírame, estamos aquí. Desde hace rato, cuando ustedes llegaron, ya estaban las huellas de nuestros zapatos. Se robaron hasta la comida de gato y todavía se están lamiendo el plato. Bien encabronado con estos ingratos. Hoy le doy duro a los tambores hasta que me acusen de maltrato. Si no entiendes el dato, pues te lo tiro en cumbia, bossa nova, tango o vallenato. A lo calaboy y bambú, bien frontú, con sangre caliente como Timbuktu. Estamos dentro del menú. Tupac se llama Tupac por Tupac Amaru del Perú. América no es solo USA, papá. Esto es desde Tierra del Fuego hasta Canadá. Hay que ser bien bruto, bien hueco. Es como decir que África es solo Marruecos. Estos canallas se les olvidó que el calendario que usan se lo inventaron los mayas con la Valdivia precolombina. Desde hace tiempo, este continente camina, pero ni con toda la marina pueden sacar de la vitrina la peste campesina. Esto va para el capataz de la empresa. El machete no es solo para cortar caña, también es para cortar cabeza.
Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerdes. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerdes. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. 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 Te muerde, te muerde.
Los paramilitares, las guerrillas, los hijos del conflicto, las pandillas, las listas negras, los falsos positivos, los periodistas asesinados, los desaparecidos, los narcogobiernos, todos los que robaron, los que se manifiestan y los que se olvidaron, las persecuciones, los golpes de estado, el país en quiebra, los exiliados, el peso devaluado, el tráfico de droga, los carteles, las invasiones, los emigrantes sin papeles, 5 presidentes en 11 días, disparo a quemarropa por parte de la policía, más de 100 años de tortura, la nova trova cantando en plena dictadura. Somos la sangre que sopla la presión atmosférica. Gambino, mi hermano, esto sí es América.
Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerdes. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos,
Yo, las líneas que parten el mundo. Yo, el meridiano.
Que sepa el mundo que soy de orgullo moreno. Ande donde ande, no olvido de dónde vengo. Traigo la sangre de un indio todoterreno. En fuego como un 10 son los pies de Cuauhtémoc. Que sepa el mundo que soy de orgullo moreno. Ande donde ande, no olvido de dónde vengo. Traigo la sangre de un indio todoterreno. En fuego como un 10 son los pies de Cuauhtémoc.
En una simple frase te explicaré cómo es mi gente. Si maltratas a un carnal, te devora la serpiente. Emplumada, va en picada, desquiciada el águila real. Le arrancará la cabeza a quien dañó su nopal.
Somos un ejército cautivo, esperando la señal pa' comerme al enemigo. Huitzilopochtli, dime si es rival o amigo. Que del ejército mexica tus guerreros siguen vivos.
Soy un monstruo con la pluma, mis rimas envenenadas. Hoy me llaman Quetzalcóatl, soy la serpiente emplumada. Dueño de la tempestad y del tiempo está muy claro. Un diluvio de verdad, en la instrumental soy Tlaloc.
Certero en mi disparo, hilo y camino, el flechador del cielo. Pero con rimas, cultura de mi tierra que nunca se acaba, con águilas y estrellas que vuelan desde la nada. Que sepa el mundo que soy de orgullo moreno. Ande donde ande, no olvido de dónde vengo. Traigo la sangre de un indio todoterreno. En fuego como un 10 son los pies de Cuauhtémoc. Que sepa el mundo que soy de orgullo moreno. Ande donde ande, no olvido de dónde vengo. Traigo la sangre de un indio todoterreno. En fuego como un 10 son los pies de Cuauhtémoc.
Como aquí, bro, hey, te juro no existen dos. Si voy a creer en alguien, solo va a ser en mi Dios. Yo me encomiendo a mi madre, que me cuida y me protege en tierras. Amor de tonas y claro, hey, sí, amor de mi madre tierra.
El que nunca falla, el de sangre maya. El que va dejando huellas al que buscan y no hallan. El que da la talla, el que triunfa y calla. Al que copian y se basan, soy el calendario maya. Que sepa el mundo que soy de orgullo moreno. Ande donde ande, no olvido de dónde vengo. Traigo la sangre de un indio todoterreno. En fuego como un 10 son los pies de Cuauhtémoc. Que sepa el mundo que soy de orgullo moreno. Ande donde ande, no olvido de dónde vengo. Traigo la sangre de un indio todoterreno. En fuego como un 10 son los pies de Cuauhtémoc.
Yo soy guerrero de orgullo moreno. Mis dioses son verdaderos. La Cozontli es el que cuida mis caminos y senderos.
Mi tierra pinta paisajes de autor, la naturaleza es una obra de amor donde el artista se expresa. Mira y aprecia el arte de Xochipilli, mi diosa de la belleza.
La guerra, el arte tienen cercanos roces. Netzahualcóyotl, rey con tintes de dioses. Un guerrero, poeta y muy pocos lo conocen. Hoy te lo recuerdo yo, el Sensontle y 400 voces.
Guerreros y leyendas que la historia a veces calla. Dioses de un ayer, de un hoy y de un mañana. Yo me encomiendo a Cuauhtémoc y Pachita es quien me sana. En mi sangre sigue viva la cultura mexicana. Que sepa el mundo que soy de orgullo moreno. Ande donde ande, no olvido de dónde vengo. Traigo la sangre de un indio todoterreno. En fuego como un 10 son los pies de Cuauhtémoc. Que sepa el mundo que soy de orgullo moreno. Ande donde ande, no olvido de dónde vengo. Traigo la sangre de un indio todoterreno. En fuego como un 10 son los pies de Cuauhtémoc.
Ical, hijo, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú. Tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.